Welcome to Dell EMC Networking Tech Talk with OpenManage and Network Manager. This is for version OMNM 6.5, and this is Bill Acevedo. Today we're going to talk about hierarchy views. And you may know these in prior packages as alarms by location or even containers. So in 6.5, under alarms and events, you used to have an alarms by location tab. What we've done is we've preceded a default tree view. We don't believe a lot of people knew how to use this feature, so we're trying to see an example of how a hierarchy view can be used. And so you can create your own tree view like you see here, but this was just laid out as a general structure that most people will have, obviously different categories of equipment, firewalls, routers, servers, those kind of things. But you could have this by your own definition. Each container might be, a location on your network or a subnet. And so what would happen is all of the devices in that particular node would contain all of those devices. And so what you see here is in this tree view, whenever this tree view is on the page, it controls what other portlets are showing. And so you'll see here alarms. What I have is just alarms that are related to my resource manager. If I were to click on firewalls, you'll see that alarms goes away because there's no alarms in there. And so what you see here is that, you'll see red, yellow, green, depending on the alert level that's in there. And so it's useful if you want to see by location. If you have different regions, these could be regions that you've defined certain devices as being in those locations. You can easily see where your critical alarms are at, and you quickly go to them, and you see that the alarm window populates, showing you what the critical alarms are for that area. We have a similar thing on the topology view for hierarchy, but instead of having just an alarm window, we've got the alarm window and topology, and so it behaves in the same way that if you have topology here and you click on a node, it will populate the topology view with just what's in that node. So when you have lots of devices, this is a way for you to kind of reduce the view on each one. You still have your whole network here, but you don't want to see the topology for everything. You just want to see a specific node. And so this is a good way to kind of lay that out. So it's a little more manageable. So let's go back to the alarms and events and the hierarchy view. So what I want to point out here is how these trees are made. So you'll see this hierarchical view manager. You'll notice on the topology view that it didn't have this manager here. You can simply add it, add applications, and just go to type in view or something that will help you find it, and you'll see the hierarchical view manager. You can add it to the page if you want. It's not there by default. So we can see on this page here that it is there. So this is where we'll manage our views from. And so you'll see the default seeded one here. And you can modify this, you can delete it and create your own. It's very easy to create your own. Simply select new. And I'm going to leave just the name here for top container, just so it's more representative. But you would, normally at the top layer you wouldn't want to define membership. You might want to have subnodes. So we would save this and then add a child. And we can call it whatever we want, submanager view 1. And what we want to do is put devices in this node. And so to do that, you simply can add a static group where you just go select static equipment to put in there. That's one way to do it. Probably a more flexible way is use dynamic, where you can use groups or filtering and dynamically add groups. Now, the very nice thing here is that when you add these, you can create different filters that define what's going to show up in this group. And so you can do things by equipment name, you can do it by asset tag, you do it by things like IP address. Like if you want a certain subnet, it's like 1.1.1.0, whatever. You can do things like by location. If you've got specific locations you want to use, now these are SNMP locations, but you might select that everything that comes in with a location of rack 1A through this, when we read the sys info on the box, it'll automatically go in this group. So you don't have to worry about your container nodes updating when you use dynamic groups, because if you define them to be correct, then they will automatically update, and you'll always have the right views that you need there. So that's a nice little option there. Now, one other thing that's important to remember here is that all of these nodes have control by the admin, and nobody can see them until you provide authorization. So at whatever level you want, you need to provide either by user. I don't have many users here, but just a default setting, but you can do it by user if you have multiple and assign certain users so they can see that node, or you can do it by role and allow everyone to see it. And then you have control over what you can allow them to do, access, create, update, delete, that kind of thing. So again, you got to do that at all levels. And so we want to do that at the top level and at the subcomponent level. So I'm going to save this, go back up to the top level and do the same thing here. I got to edit it, sorry. We're editing top container, so we want to add role and then just say all, say what they can do, apply, save, close it, and we do a refresh on the screen with an F5, and we should see those nodes there. And so depending on how you create them, they'll show up as, this one I had created earlier too, so I think it's showing up here, but you'll generally see a structure like this. Now you can go through and you can edit these, and you can say, I don't want to see, whoops, go back up here, the wrench icon. And if you wanted to see root containers, you can see all containers. And so if I apply this, you're going to see them as a more of a, you'll see more of a flat structure in the view manager. So it just depends on how you want those, how you want to manage those. So again, that's how it would generally work and did work the same way in prior packages. It's just now we're seeding an example of that. And so anytime you do the tree view, it's going to show up, oops, not traffic flow, I want to go to hierarchy view. You're going to see those same trees, those tree nodes available here. So just keep that in mind depending on who you think wants to see it. But the difference here on, actually I'm going to show you a different layout. So this is the default layout you're going to see, but here's more of a customized view. And so in this case, we are allocating all sorts of different hierarchy here. There's many devices in that node, and we got different, different level of views here. And as we drill in, we can see there's, different hierarchy of views. And if I click down here, you see that I'm getting just the alarms for this node here. And so you see that, and then you can see the same thing on topology. Again, just as an example here, go to hierarchy view, and we go down and drill into that physical resources and drive down to rack and keep drilling down here. What we're going to see, if I have that topology there, maybe I don't have a topology there. Let's try services, see if we can find it interesting. There we go. So you see here we got we got the topology here for those devices showing up at that level. And so it just depends on how you want to organize your work. And if this kind of view is useful for you, it's a nice way to lay things out. Don't have to use it, but some people find it useful to have this type of layout for their system. If you don't like it, you can always just delete it, delete the whole page if you want to. You can do that through, go to the control panel, site pages, and you can remove the page. Or you can delete it here just by clicking the X buttons on these portlets and there'll be nothing there. Or you can customize it the way you like. Okay, that's a very quick run through on the hierarchy views. There may be more sessions coming that dive in deeper on that. That's in a nutshell how they work. So thank you for watching.